different subject. What, if anything, should the state be doing about illegal immigration?
Illegal immigration, that's a question I think that needs to fall on the federal government. I think that the state government to get involved with that at this point is inappropriate. In fact, even to the extent, like in Rhode Island, that the states have gotten involved, the federal government's gotten involved, it's been a real problem. So I think what I would do with regard to immigration issues is I think it needs to be something done on a countrywide basis. Let it be passed that way. Bring it into the cities and the states and let us deal with it ourselves after, in fact, the country puts a plan in place to deal with this issue. See, the problem is, this issue didn't start overnight. We have a lot of people in here. We got a lot of groups of people in here. We have people who have come over who are not citizens, people come over and have kids who are now citizens. So what I think you need to do is you need to put a system in place that treats everybody fairly. So if they were born here, they may be treated differently than someone that just moved here, as opposed to someone who's an alien that's not here properly in the first instance. So I think that I would take the lead from the federal government, let them put something in place, and then deal with it going forward.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to say, on that point, I would agree with my opponent with regard to the role of the federal government. This is truly a federal issue and should be handled at that level. That being said, I know that if an illegal immigrant gets into the court system and is charged with a crime, they're advised that a conviction could result in their deportation. Whether that deportation eventually takes place, again, is a matter for the federal government. I think the government needs to come up with a plan to deal with this, but this is one of those political hot potatoes that the two sides can't come together and agree on. And we're not going to get this problem solved while we have groups that disagree. And I think that's one of the areas that I've called for in my running, is that we need more civility in government, and we need people coming together for the common good. We could solve this illegal alien problem if we would just get together and work out a plan to address how to handle those folks who are here now, whether to offer some amnesty or whether to just send as many home as possible. These are issues that we talk about for 10, 15 years, but we're not going to get anything done unless we come together as a group.
Given the current event having relocated here because of power outage on the other side of town, what's your position on the governance of the utilities, their service rates and performance?
If you read Wednesday's Milford Daily News, you probably saw how I feel about National Grid. And Peter was joking with me before the debate that he blamed this change on something nasty that I might have said about National Grid.
I did.
But I said to Peter, they saw him running with a book of matches running down Grove Street earlier.
Watch out for that 3 strikes.
This is an unacceptable problem. I feel like I'm in the Flintstones sometimes when I see these power outages. It's a beautiful day out there. We should not be experiencing power outages. I'll sit in my house, and if it's a bit of wind is occurring or if it starts to rain, I'm wondering if we're going to lose power. Well, at the council level, we asked National Grid to come and speak at the council chambers. I cannot describe that as a well-informed presentation. Then we asked for a report. By their own admission, we have very poor equipment servicing Franklin. We have issues involving animals on the wires, and we have issues with trees. But National Grid has not come up with an action plan. I am going to submit that we'll try to do something at the town council level, but I believe we need work from the state level. And I can tell you National Grid will be on my radar should I get to the State House in November and start working in January.
Jeff had called me and said, hey, by the way, he says, the electricity's out over on Pond Street, so we can't do our debate tonight, but we might have access to the council chambers. And it's so funny because it just comes on the heel of the article and the meeting before the town council. We need an action plan from these people. The plan that was put forward by them and the town council, and Jeff and other members of the town council were keen to point out, was lacking. We need closer oversight. They must do a better job, and the rates have to be competitive, obviously, but I do agree, this is something that needs to be taken care of on a state level. We're gonna bellyache all we want down here below, but we need to let our state legislators know so that they're in a position to try to hold these people's feet to the fire so these issues don't happen. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I believe you both may know, college has never been more expensive. And even in the state system, in public higher education, the contribution to the University of Massachusetts and the other state colleges and universities has declined over the last 10 or so years, especially compared to inflation. Just this year, I got a bill the other night, and the and the cost of a UMass tuition for the next year has gone up $500. Should the state legislature be doing something about this, and if so, what?
I think the state legislature definitely needs to be doing something about it. When I went to school, and I graduated from North Adams State College, and I'm very happy back in 1981, I think I got through all 4 years with less than $10,000 was the cost. Thank God I didn't have any loans because I borrowed money from my uncle, so he was my bank going through college and part of law school as well. But as I look at tuition bills, for my son who's going to Assumption and my son who's going to Bryant, it is absolutely unbelievable. Thank God they're smart like their mother, and they get money to go to school, because other than that, it would be near impossible to afford it. The tuition bills are through the roof. An average school is $50,000, $55,000. And Jeff knows because he's got the kids at school as well. So I think the legislature does need to take a look at this and find out why these rates have gone up so fast. How is it possible that a tuition back 20 years ago is now 5 times the amount? Tuition and fees, of course, because everything goes up commensurate. So I think that even the University of Mass systems, which is still a great value, keeps creeping up. So I think we need to form a committee. We need to look at this issue, and it's a big issue, and start to try to let these people know we're going to follow these things closely to try to make sure that we make these things affordable for people, because we're going to price people right out of the market. Thank you.
I think this is one of the issues that's probably the most important to getting America out of the economic mess that it's in today. The education of our youth is probably the most important issue of our day. We know from studies that it is a college education that will provide you with a greater level of earnings. And we can't deprive our citizens of the opportunity to get an education and to compete in the global economy. It used to be 30 years ago that you could go to school, you could graduate or not graduate from high school, there would be a factory job waiting for you that would provide you with a very good wage, would provide you with a pension, would provide you with health insurance, and you could stay there for 30, 35 years, retire from that job, and have a very good retirement. Those jobs don't exist anymore. Those jobs are now being done by robots and machines. What we need today is we need to train people to talk to the computers that are running those robots and those machines. And that requires more education than a high school level. How can we give that opportunity to folks if we have skyrocketing college costs? Last year was the first of my 2 opportunities in the 9-year stretch that I had 2 in college in the same year. $112,000 in tuition. That is not manageable for many families at all. I still wonder how we got out of that year. We need to do a study of what's happening to college costs, because when you have people talking about whether or not a college education is worth what you pay for it, that's a horrible direction for us to go. So I would urge the legislature to take action and study this problem.
Thank you, Mr.
Here's one of the expensive college educations that just completed. She was lucky, though. She found a job, so I'm very happy.
Two-part question. What do you see as Franklin's key issue at the state level, and how do you plan to address it?
Well, I'll tell you, Franklin's key issue, like the key issue for everyone in Massachusetts, and like the key issue for everyone in the United States of America, is getting jobs and the economy on track. And a second prong of that is keeping our education system vibrant and viable for everyone who participates in the system. Thirdly, keeping local aid on track in this community to support the great programs that we have. Now, let me talk about jobs in the economy. I know there's an innovation bill that is before the legislature that would provide economic opportunities in communities, trying to bring in grants to fund businesses in the community. They want to create a MassWorks infrastructure program to get infrastructure funding for these programs, science and technology research and development grants. These are the types of opportunities that we should be exploring. Let's bring some of these businesses out here to Franklin. We've attracted some great biotechnical companies. We have a biotechnical area in the community. These are the types of things that we should be encouraging and bringing to this community. And I think once we get the economy on track, we will be bringing the jobs to the community, will help in the local aid to our community, and this will help build and make Franklin and Medway great places to work and live.
You know, in meeting with Jeff Nutting, our town administrator, I asked him, what are the important things to Franklin? What are the issues that are important to us? And he said three things: making sure we have our balanced budget, making sure that we keep up our roads, and the OPEB problem. So with regard to the balanced budget, now we've done a good job this year and we have a balanced budget, but what that comes back around to is our Chapter 70 and our Chapter 90 funds. We have to make sure that we can get every dollar we can from the state. Jim Valley's done a great job, an incredible job. However, we have to keep that work up. There's a lot of money that he brings into the community, and he has brought into the community, so that's an issue. The other issue is OPEB. So if we're gonna help the towns, our local towns, in order to help, we should get some money from the state to start an OPEB fund, so that the state actually starts putting money in to our fund so we can build that fund up and make sure that we get that nut covered. Because that's not gonna go away. That's a continuing problem that we face. So that's what I see as the problem. Thank you.
With your permission, Chief, I would like to ask this question to Jeff Roy first, just so that we aren't always asking the same order.
I'm intrigued.
Fine with,
I'm intrigued.
You can, go ahead, if you wanna go out of order, that's fine. Go ahead.
The voters of Massachusetts will face 3 questions on the ballot this fall. Could you tell us what they are and your position on them?
That's a good question. Honestly, I can't tell you. I know one of them, I'm not even going to guess. I can't tell you what questions are on the ballot.
We'll give Peter a chance.
No, I think I'd like to hear what questions are on the ballot, too. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Just so you know, we're focusing on the
I'll help you out. The first is medical
Thank you, Peter.
We're focusing on our campaigns, Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Medical marijuana, the assisted suicide, and the right to repair.
and Mr. Holmes is still directing that to Mr. Roy?
I'll let them each take a shot.
Well,
Have anything to say about them?
you know, I haven't studied each of these questions enough to render an opinion. And one thing I know, if you don't know the answer to a question, the honest answer is, say you don't know. Before I vote on a ballot question, I can assure you that I read the pamphlet that the Secretary of State's office sends home to me. I will read it in this case. These questions just got certified to be on the ballot about 2 weeks ago. And truthfully, my focus since April 15th, has been becoming the next state representative for Franklin and Medway, and I would do an injustice if I even attempted to sweet-talk you into some position on issues that I haven't studied. And I'm going to tell you that as a state representative, I'm not going to vote on the bill, and I'm not going to take action on anything that comes before me that I don't understand and that I haven't researched and considered carefully. I never did that when I was on the school committee. I never did it when I'm on the town council, and I won't do it tonight.
I'm going to give you a shorter version of that, since April 16th, when I found out. And quite frankly, we're focusing on running the campaign and winning the campaign. So those issues, when the time comes, we'll make sure we do the appropriate research and then vote on them accordingly. Thank you.
Picking up on the fact that at least you have been devoting an awful lot of your time to your local campaigns, and based on the flyers that have been left on the doors, et cetera, you've certainly been walking through the neighborhoods. What's the one thing that going door to door really helps your campaign?
That to be.
Well, to both, but equally.
I was talking to Jim Valley a couple of weeks ago, and I said, you know what? The most fun I have on this campaign is getting around to meet people. It's just absolutely fantastic. I get to meet people. I'm 52 years old. My family's grew up in this community. I get to meet people who know my family from 60, 70, 80 years ago. I meet people in their 80s who tell me stories about my uncle who built something for them, or my uncle who did some steps for them, or how they knew my mother or my grandfather. And the stories they share, you know, I sat down with Mrs. Remillard. One of my sons plays played baseball for Mr. We call him Rem Dog, Remillard. And I sat down with her. She's 87 years old, and she told me how she met her husband, you know, on Union Street, and how they were married, and she moved into the same house and lived there till a couple years ago, in her, like 84, 85, and moved into Central Park Terrace. She told me that, you know, her husband's not doing well, and that she goes to visit him every day. And you know something? I get to take something out of that. So this process allows me to go and meet with those people and connect with them. And I hope that if I'm in the position to be state rep, I expect them to give me a phone call. I'll go out and visit them. And I told them even now, you need me for something, you have any questions, give me a call. I'm gonna come out and visit with you. Any questions that you have. So it's that connecting with people has been invaluable. So, thank you.
I can tell you that some of the most valuable time spent campaigning has been the door-to-door visits. You know, I've asked folks to come along with me, and they're frightened. They're saying, I don't want to go because people are going to close the door, they're going to yell, they're going to be offended. Well, you know something? I've only had, of the 750 doors I've knocked on so far, only 2 times have I felt unwelcome. It was the one guy who the door was open, and I heard a yell from inside the house and said, nobody's home. So I looked to Lester and I said, Lester, did you say that? And then another guy who came to the top of the stairs, he was elderly and he didn't want to come down the stairs, he just gave me one of these. But that's not bad. People want to talk. They want to share what concerns they have. And they want to be included in this process. They want to feel like you're listening to them. And going out and talking to people in their home where they're comfortable and you're in their space, they control the conversation. And I have learned so much from that experience that I'm going to continue that up until Election Day, and I'm going to continue that after Election Day. This is going to be a part of my operation if I'm elected as the next state representative here in Franklin and Medway, because there's rich resources out there, and to be a true representative, you have to speak with your constituents.
As you both knock on doors and talk to your potential constituents, I'm guessing from time to time you'll run into somebody who says, why would you want to go there? Like it or not, the Beacon Hill does not have a great reputation with an awful lot of Massachusetts citizens. You've had the State House of Representatives that had 3 speakers in a row indicted. There is a feeling that the legislature is unresponsive and potentially corrupt. What can you do about that perception, or what can the state do about that perception that persists about its legislature?
That is a question and a conversation that comes up frequently. I think my business partner was the first one to bring up that question when I told him I was thinking about this office. I said, you can either be a part of the solution or let the problem continue. I'm 50 years old. I'm rather set in my ways. I can see some folks in the background. They have no argument with that. I am going to be true to myself, and I believe that I want to be part of the solution. I am so excited about the opportunity to get up onto Beacon Hill. I will bring the same skill set that I brought to my school committee work, to my town council work, to my family life, to my legal work. I'll bring that skill set with me to Beacon Hill, and I'll work to improve the integrity of that building, because we're doing the people's business, and they want people who truly care about them, and care about what they're doing. And no one has ever called into question my love or my passion for government work. They may disagree with some of the decisions I've made and some of the issues I've championed, but no one has ever called into question my passion for that issue. And that's what I will bring to Beacon Hill, and hopefully it will improve the climate in that State House. But I can't do it alone. I will hopefully bring that spirit to the other members of the chamber.
You know,